Counselor Accents Podcast. Two school counselors who love their jobs. Oh, and they happen to have Southern accents too. Bless their hearts.
I'm Kim.
I'm Laura.
Together we are Counselor Accents.
And it is time for our weekly podcast.
Yay! What's the podcast about today, Laura?
We are going more in depth on a conversation we had with your principal
Very
a
good.
couple of weeks ago. We're going to be talking about climate and culture and why you are the leading source on climate and culture.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
And what counselors have to do with climate and culture.
Excellent. So that's exciting. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it is.
It's a big buzzword, and we want to dive in and look at really what we want counselors to realize how much an impact they have for the climate and the culture. So a lot of times we don't think we can make a difference, but we really can. So we were asked to speak on this topic, and at an Alabama, I guess was with our school system.
Yeah,
okay?
our state counseling conference. Our state counseling supervisor
person
asked us to speak on culture and climate.
And that began our journey.
Yeah.
And so it reminded me of a book. And so we've kind of titled this, Hooray for Diff and Doofer School. So that's kind of, and you'll see while we're talking about Diff and Doofer in a little bit here. But
I think the reason why he asked us, really, I was just an add-on. He asked you, and we can't do anything by ourselves. Except, spoiler alert,
because they were at my school. They were at my school. It's all coming back. And they asked if I would speak on this subject. And so I just drag you along.
I know. I carry your bags.
And there you go. Here you go
these
with me.
Hands, these
so
arms.
Just a very quick journey of where our school came from. We'll talk about what the difference is in climate and culture in just a little bit, but a lot of that has to do with leadership in the school. And so we were given it's carte blanche. Carte blanche is just the ability to do as we wanted with our classroom. That? Well, I'm trying to teach you.
Have taught me something.
Not really sure if I made that word up, but we were given just free reins on how we wanted to change up our classroom. Also, the principal's very forward-thinking in the way we set up our seating. I mean, he really wants our classrooms to feel comfortable for the children. So in a lot of the classrooms, you'll go in and you'll see couches and you'll see bean bags and, just things that you might experience at home. And it's not uncommon to come to our school and see kids out in the hallway reading, or we have a boat, they're on the boat. And it's not just your typical sitting in the seats learning. And he's all about that forward thinking. It's addictive. It's a lot. It makes the kids want to be at school. So anyway, with this mindset, we started decorating our classrooms, and we had one classroom that actually the teacher just Facebooked it. It was for the University of Alabama, and he did it like you were walking into the University of Alabama, which as a counselor, I loved that. It was a college, and so it was picked up by the local news, and then it was picked up by ESPN.
You went viral.
So, yes. So ESPN picked up his classroom. Well, the other teacher beside him wanted the opposing team, so she did Auburn. So from there,
that's a big deal in Alabama.
It is a big deal. Football's a big deal. So that was so much fun for the kids. And then we had one whole hallway that went Hogwarts. I mean, they did inside. They started inside the classroom, and they did an amazing job to transfer their classrooms to an otherworldly look. So it was very exciting. It was so exciting for the community to see those rooms the first time that they saw those rooms. So it was just fun. We had one hallway that was going down the Dr. Seuss, and then the other one was Hogwarts. And then other teachers just wanted to do their own thing that was, kind of express them. So when they did the Hogwarts classroom, we actually got a call from someone from the Ellen Show, and they talked to us and interviewed us, and through that interview, they got the story to Warner Brothers. So we got a call from Warner Brothers one day after school, and the call from Warner Brothers was that Joe, who is the author of the Harry Potter books, which I don't know, I didn't know it was, they call her Joe. I'm not that informal. But
The rest of us call her J.K. Rowling.
But it's Joe, and I'm like, so they're talking about Joe wanting the cast for the new Harry Potter series, The Crimes of Griswold, to come out to our school.
Okay. Griswold, they were on...
Again!
They were on Christmas Vacation. She did this on our Ask a webinar when we did the
Always Crimes of Griswold.
And I just think people that made Christmas Vacation, you're missing a treat.
I know! It's because I love the Griswolds, and I've made this The Crimes of Griswold. It's The Crimes of Grindelwald.
We were actually both wrong. It's Crimes of Grindelwald.
Get that wah. So anyway, yes, they came out. Warner Brothers came out a week before, and they literally had probably 4 large trucks full of stuff for our teachers, for our students, for the community. It was just amazing. We got money, we got TVs, the kids all walked away with bukus of gifts, and plus I got to see Jude Law. I mean, that was the biggie. And they stayed all day, and we did. We had lunch together. We had in the Today Show, house competition. The Today Show was here.
It was a big deal.
All the news stations were here, so it was a really, really, really big deal. And J.K. Rowling actually signed a huge poster for the school, and it just kind of, as the state folks were out here with us because we invited them, they just kind of got a glimpse of the joy that when you allow people some freedom that it brings to the students, and all the joy that it brings to the teachers, and how much fun we dressed up, and we had so much fun. And it's just what we do at this school. And so because of that, she asked if we would speak on climate and culture. And as a counselor, we did speak on this. And one of the things that we thought about was how very like the book from Dr. Seuss, Hooray for Diffendover Day.
Yep.
So,
and we have a quick little video of some of the cast members talking about a school being focused on students and their interests and what excites them, and sort of creating the education based on that. So we will add that in here.
Absolutely.
Good Lord.
Just having the time of our lives.
Yeah. So we found out about, obviously we're on our tour of the world, talking about the new Fantastic Beasts movie. And then we find out about this incredible school through Warner Brothers. They find out about this incredible school in particular, have put their own time, some of their own money into transforming the school into Hogwarts, because they found out, you said this beautiful thing earlier, they found out that the kids were responding to the books, they were responding to the characters, and they kind of tuned into this and thought, well, look, if that's where they're finding their inspiration, their energy, let's transform the place into that. And since then, I think they've had, maximum attendance, great results, great atmosphere. So we were here to celebrate them and to bring a little present for them and just to point a spotlight on them.
We feel really proud just to be able to support that message, support Joe's most basic, most fundamental messages, which is like, love yourself, love one another, be passionate about learning, find what you're hungry for and indulge that hunger. Don't try to fit yourself into someone else's mold. And so for a school to internalize that message to the extent that they can then say, okay, we're going to mold this school to fit the kids' interests. That's what we should be doing. That's what education should look like in general.
Yeah.
Not trying to fit kids into our molds, making our molds to fit kids and their.
Let's read a little bit about why we chose this book as our kind of focal point when we spoke at the state.
So Kim brought this book up, and so when I read it, thinking climate and culture, and it compares and contrasts two very different schools, I was like, yes, this is genius. So I'm going to read to you about Dinkerville, and then she'll read about Flobbertown. And in your mind, think about the way you would feel walking into one school versus the other.
Very good.
I've always lived in Dinkerville. My friends all live here too. We go to Diff and Doofer School. We're happy that we do. Our school is at the corner of Dinkzuber and Dinkzot. It looks like any other school, but we suspect it's not. I think we're learning lots of things not taught at other schools. Our teachers are remarkable. They make up their own rules. Okay?
Not Flobbertown, we shouted, and we shuddered at the name. For everyone in Flubbertown did I say not Flobbertown? I did. Not Flubbertown, we shouted, and we shuddered at the name. For everyone in Flubbertown does everything the same. It's miserable in Flobbertown. They dress...
Just kidding.
Is it flubber or flobber?
It's flobber.
Flobber.
Yeah, like slobber, but flobber.
Not Flobbertown.
Oh, we're doing it again?
Not Flobertown.
Just
Not
look up right here.
Flubbertown. Is it flubber or flobber?
Flobber.
Flobber?
Like slobber.
It's miserable in Flobbertown. They dress in just one style. They sing one song. They never dance. They march in single file. They do not have a playground, and they do not have a park. Their lunches have no taste at all. Their dogs are scared to bark.
Ooh, that was hard. I know which one I want to go to.
I tell you which one I want to go to.
So then we also found this little video that...
Did you say Didio? This little ditty of a viddy.
This little video about the way that you feel when you walk into one fast food chain compared to the other.
You can walk into a new school or a new store or a new setting or a new whatever, and as an outsider, immediately get a sense of what the culture and climate are. When you're in that organization, the tone becomes normal. So sometimes you don't even know it's weird. If you walk into a fast food restaurant, some of them you walk in and you're treated like royalty. And they're polite and they're respectful and they're dynamic and they actually pay attention and they're nice and they look nice and they thank you. And you can go to one 3 blocks away in the same chain. They won't make eye contact, they're disengaged or talking about what they did on Saturday night, and they're rude or unfriendly, they're disrespectful. It's the culture within that organization, and when a new person joins, they become just like the people within that organization, and nobody knows why this is happening. And so within an organization, we have to get a real handle on what is the culture, what is the driving force within the district, and then be able to alter that or improve it, either on a subculture basis or a school-wide basis or at a district-wide basis.
It's a great illustration of of walking into a climate that you want to be in, as opposed, and we've all been in those fast food restaurants or those restaurants where you're like, oh my gosh, can I get out of here fast enough? Where they're fighting or they're bickering, or the employees I'm talking about.
Yeah. Okay.
I could tell you stories for days.
So based on that, we deduced and researched that the school climate is the feel of the school. So it's the way you feel when you walk in.
As opposed to the school culture is the unwritten traditions.
Because those phrases are used interchangeably and sometimes incorrectly. People mistake culture. It, like you said earlier, it's a buzzword. And so, or buzz phrase.
And they're put together, and they do go together in that a climate can eventually cut away at the culture. But that culture is a deeper sense of how people are and how they act in the school.
Yeah.
The ingrained, the traditions.
Yep, very good. Okay.
School climate is the building block of school culture. That's
building
profound. What do I call it? What did I say?
You said building block, but I envisioned us with the block.
We have been known to illustrate a lesson by toting around the extra large play blocks. And, you can pack like 3 in a jumbo-sized trash bag. So when you've got like 50 of those, you look like Santa Claus.
And we had to park way far away, and here we are dragging
our blocks.
garbage bags. And we looked into having them overnighted to the place where we were speaking, and it was just
we just went with the garbage bags.
we did, yeah. So if you saw us toting the garbage bags, that's what was in
Augusta,
not a dead body.
No.
So we gave this survey to our faculty and staff, just some of the people
And on
in our
Instagram.
I'm going to get to that in a
I'm
minute.
sorry,
You just spoiled
Margot.
it. You spoiled
Sorry.
it. Okay. We gave this survey to some people in our school system and asked them, what do you think the biggest contributors to school climate are? And there were 3 top answers, and they were camaraderie among coworkers, the atmosphere of the school, and support from administrators. All 3 of those were neck and neck. The least chosen?
Talk to me.
Funding.
Go figure.
I know, and we hear so much about funding and how that's important for schools, and it is.
It is, yes.
But
that just goes to show how much we want to feel welcome and enjoy our workplace.
Yes, it's important.
Yeah.
We also did this survey on Instagram. Okay.
I wanted to say it before you.
Yeah, we have an Instagram page, which if you're not following it, then you really should. You really should. Anyway, we gave this same survey, and the answers that we got overwhelmingly led were camaraderie among coworkers and leadership from administrator.
Go figure. Those
So it's
match, yeah.
Whether you are in Seattle, Washington, or Alabama, you want support from your leadership and camaraderie among coworkers.
So that leads us into the 5 factors of school climate coming from the National School Climate Center that we're going to just briefly go over. As they say, as the National School Climate Center says, these are the 5 factors.
Hit me.
Hit me, baby, one more time. The first one is...
Oh, they were right there for you.
I was just going to... You want me to just lay them all out, or we can go one at a time? Number 1 is...
Oh,
and
okay.
then go
We're
into
gonna
that.
Leave it as a little surprise.
Little surprisey. That's
all
right.
Well, before we get started in this,
yes,
we need you to think about your school, and we call this being school blind. You know, on those Febreze commercials, whenever you see them bring people in, and like if your house smells, you don't know it smells because it's what you live in.
right.
And it could be the same thing with your school. If your school is a dud, you may not realize it. You may be school blind because everybody has school spirit, and we love that. But you need to take the blinders off and look at your school through a visitor's eyes. And so we're going to ask you to take the blinders off as you think about your school.
Very
Don't
good.
be school blind. Okay.
So going into leadership is number 1.
As defined by the National Council for School Climate, they say leadership is number 1. And in the book, Hooray for Diffendufer Day, there is a section about the principal.
Read it to us, Laura.
Okay. We also have a principal. His name is Mr. Lowe. He is the very saddest man that any of us know. He mumbles, "Are they learning this and that and such and such?" His face is wrinkled as a prune from worrying so much. He breaks a lot of pencils from pushing down too hard, and many dogs start barking as he mopes around the yard. We think he wears false eyebrows. In fact, we're sure it's so. We've heard he takes them off at night. I guess we'll never know. So leadership is the number 1 factor in school climate. And so what should leadership look like, Kim?
Well, let's think about our own school experiences. When I think about the leader that I had, and I loved these leaders that I had in the past, but it was a very different day.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, don't say anything funny like back in the 1920s or something like that. But it was very much focused, the principal very much focused on keeping the accounts in order, keeping the children quiet, and the focus was on discipline, and a lot of that was ruling with fear.
Mm-hmm.
And that has changed.
In most places.
It has in most places, and that's where we're starting to see this climate and culture that embraces the way children think and the way children learn now.
Yeah.
But they focus on collaboration. They encourage teamwork and they bring out the best. And I've seen this firsthand, encouraging teamwork, doing team activities, team building activities with the staff. I know our staff goes out to eat or goes to the movies or does some activity. We try to do that, at least once a month or once every other month or something like that. And it just builds that camaraderie with each other that we bring, and we cheer each other on. We are creating a climate where we want what's best for every single teacher. We've tried to lose that element of jealousy of who's trying to overdo, who's doing this and who's doing that. But we try to really clap and encourage and what we want our students to do with one another.
Something you said at the beginning of talking about leadership and how old school leadership focused on quiet, but new leadership focuses on like the way that students learn. And a story that I don't think I'll ever forget is when our state superintendent came to Kim's school, and you said kids were spread through the hallway, just like reading in the hallway. Maybe they were on their stomach looking at a book, just like lying down in the hallway. And our state superintendent got down on his knees and said, "What you reading?" and just talked to the students.
Yeah.
Where some principals would like want everybody to scatter and be in classrooms sitting in their desk. And that would horrify some school principals to think about students being all spread out in the hallway.
Yeah, and that's just a different way of, it's just a more current way that principals and leaders, and we need to push those leaders to think that kids learn differently. We want them to be problem solvers, critical thinkers, not just, there's a time and place for what we're talking about, desk or however the seating is, but also giving kids freedom to play and be curious and to learn and those kinds of things, problem solve.
That's another podcast.
It is.
So what if you're saying, I can't
do anything.
I
can't do anything
about my leadership. Maybe you're in a school and you think my principal's my principal, and I had someone we went to a National Blue Ribbon workshop to talk about how to take your school and meet the 21st century learner. And the speaker said, it's going to be very impossible to do anything if your leader is not on board. So you may be in that situation where you're saying, my leader's old school. What can I do? Well, tell us.
Well,
realize that,
you are a leader, and that sometimes if you can't take it in a broader sense, you start with yourself and just say, what can I do to promote climate in where I'm at? And one of the things that we do is we promote ourselves.
We do.
If nobody's going to promote you in the school, promote yourself and your program. And we do that. In fact, we just got through with National School Counseling Week.
Yeah.
And we did something every day for the teachers, encouraging them, thanking them, feeding them, loving on them all week long. And the same time, advertising what our program does in the school.
Yep.
Because if we don't tell them, they don't know.
Exactly.
So that's what we always say. So that's a big thing that we can do. We're encouragers.
Yep.
Talk about, and this may not be what you wanted to do, but talk about when you go in and you have to observe a student or whatever, what you do to encourage the teachers.
Yeah, I try to make sure that the teacher knows I'm not in there to observe them. I'm not an evaluator. I'm just focusing on the student. So one thing that I have started doing is when I'm in there, I'm intentional about picking out something that the teacher is doing really well. And I was in a classroom, and I noticed that the teacher had the centers going really smoothly. The kids just knew which center to go to next. And I just commented on that in passing. I mean, I just said, hey, you've got these kids trained. They know exactly which center to go to. And she stopped what she was doing and looked at me, pulled her glasses off her face and said, thank you. She said, you don't know what that means to me. And it was just, I didn't mean to be an encourager. I wasn't being intentional at that point. That's when I realized
I need to be intentional. Yeah.
So now I've amped it up this year. I leave a handwritten note, and every time I say I was not in there to evaluate you, but I couldn't help but notice, whatever.
Yeah.
And I just always try
And
to
when
fix
you
it
told
now.
me that story,
Yeah.
I started doing that instead of just leaving.
Mm-hmm.
When I got through observing a student or whatever I was doing in the class, I just now I make it a point to just, find something that teacher's doing well and
Yeah.
encourage her. And it has not failed that you could just see that thankfulness on their
Aw.
face, So that's something that we can do.
Yeah.
What
All
about
right.
in the teaching and learning realm? What can a teacher do?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
Because that's number 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, teaching and learning.
There is a line in the book Hooray for Different Day where the narrator talks about his favorite teacher, and he says, of all the teachers in our school, I like Miss Bonkers best. Our teachers are all different, but she's differenter than the rest.
So the topics that we get to teach are differenter than other teachers. So because we are specialized in what we teach and what we do. Take advantage of that.
I like to say that school counselors are like the fun aunts and uncles of the school. Like, your favorite aunt that you have.
That's what we want to be.
Uncle.
So we work really hard at setting ourselves apart, as we hope everybody does.
Yeah.
But we set ourselves apart, and so when we do a lesson, we do a lesson. I mean, we will
go all out.
We go all out, and we may dress up, we may decorate the room, we may do both. We'll add music, we'll add movement, we'll try to take it to the next level as much as we can.
Yeah.
That's not always possible, but we really, really try to bring at least, make something magical with each lesson.
And don't forget that line from Flobbertown where he said, for everyone in Flobbertown does everything the same. We want to change up our lessons and take it to another level. So look at your lesson plans from last year and see, what can I do differenter this year? One thing that helped me was finding Kim, because she's a like-minded person. And so we challenge each other to
we'll talk out a lesson, and it's, can we add this element to make it a little bit more memorable? And I have parents who stop me, and the kids are going home and saying, you dressed up like a tree for the giving tree, and my child told me that, and he loved that. So they remember those things if we take it that extra step. So that's what we try to do, and that is a big way. That's a big way that I can change my world, my climate.
In a book that I read last year, it was called Wild Card, and they talked about how in certain school systems they are handed their script. This is the lesson that you have to teach, and everybody has to do it the same. And that has happened to us. We, across our school system, are doing the same school counseling lessons. And it's a good thing because
not all of them, but there are certain ones that we all have to do the same
to verify that we're covering certain topics. And some people might see this as they're stifling my creativity. Not us. We saw it as, and in the book he talks about, this is your chance to audition for a role. Everybody that's trying to get a role in a movie, they all have to read the same thing. But what are you going to do to make yourself stand out so that you get that role? So last year we were handed the book Only One You. It's about a little fish. So we made our room, we're at separate schools, but together we brainstormed, what are we going to do? So I bought a light that looks like you're underwater. So as the
I have
kids
used
walked
that
in,
underwater light for space.
I love it. Yes.
I have used that underwater light for different lessons.
Atmospheres,
different atmospheres.
And then we've got the underwater sounds going when they walk in, and it just it set the stage.
Absolutely, just going that extra mile.
Yeah.
So we have found that it's important to kind of figure out what the kids are into and what they like outside of school, and we and we'll talk about that later in another podcast, minute meetings, and in that we have made a point, what are you into, what do you like? So we have found out some things that kids are interested in, and we will design lessons around the things that they're interested in.
Yeah.
we found out that kids loved slime, and that I had some students who actually went to a slime convention
Like
in
the
Dallas.
National
Mhm.
Slime Convention.
Who knew that there was one? But come to find out, that was a huge thing for those kids. So whatever, there have been other things that, kids, llamas, and now it's sloths. And
Yeah. And do you know I did a lesson, or we did our lesson on slime, and we did it a year ago, but I still have kids asking me every time they come in my room, are we going to make slime today?
Yes, that's like, I'm not going to get
I'm like,
past that. I
I've
love that
done
so much
100 lessons since then, but you're still talking about slime.
because they love that. We need
Yeah.
to know what they're into,
Yeah.
and what they're doing.
And in the book Wildcard that I referenced earlier, he says, as a teacher, or we're going to say as a counselor, you have the power to create that eagerness to come to school. And I love that challenge, that
Absolutely.
it's up to us. We can create the eagerness. People say, oh, I get to go to Ms. Rinkhorn's class today. And then they're excited to come to school.
And it's kind of like contagious.
Yeah.
With when other teachers see what we're doing, it just kind of is contagious.
Yeah.
And you can see that kind of flowing out from you. So that's what we want to be. And that's that small part. If nobody else is doing it, you're doing it, and you don't know what a difference you're making.
Mm-hmm.
So we ask ourselves, does our lessons have the 3 M's? And sometimes they don't, but a lot of times they do, and this is what we shoot for, and that's music, movement, and magic.
Yeah.
Those are the things that we want to incorporate into our lessons. So now we're on to number 3, which is
safety.
According to the National
Council
Center
for School Climate.
So they say, when we look at this, well, what do I have to do? I'm not an SRO officer. What do I have to do with safety in our climate? But we have a lot to do with safety.
We do.
A whole lot to do with safety. So
One
let's
of the
look at
main
that.
things that comes to my mind is bullying. That's such a big topic right now.
Mm-hmm.
And that does fall on us to educate the students
Mhm.
about bullying.
Mhm.
That's what my
Mhm.
lesson was about today, teaching them the difference between being mean, which is not okay, but also bullying and how that's repeated over and over, and who to go see and who to tell if that's happening.
To help set the guidelines for your school or your school system of what are we going to do when this does happen? Mm-hmm. What are the consequences? And we've been very fortunate in having clear-cut things.
Yeah.
School violence, talking to students about age-appropriate suicide prevention.
Mm-hmm.
And those are things that are as you say, the gatekeepers of the social emotional realm. So we're the gatekeepers of that. So in that part of the climate and culture, we're not the only ones. Thank heavens. I'm glad that we have other administrators, and we have leaders and SRO, which is student resource officers, and different people. But we are a big part of that.
Yeah.
So it's not just one person.
Yeah. And so the things that we can do, we can be proactive in that and teach these lessons before anything happens, and hopefully they won't ever happen because you're educating on the front end. And then we document when our lessons were covered. So if we do a self-esteem lesson that may fall under the umbrella of suicide prevention, then we document when that was done, bullying, when that was done.
All of those things.
Yep.
So kids feeling safe is part of a happy, secure climate, and that's a big part of our job.
Number 4, relationships.
Relationships, supportive peer relationships for students.
Yeah. So making sure they are connected to friendships, that they receive academic help, that they get support for their problems, and then being there for new students. Those are all ways. I see those as small groups.
A lot of those we have done but that relationships is a big part of a school climate. We certainly enjoy the relationships we have, and we want to enable the kids, help them along with those things. And so a lot of these things that you would think, what does this have to do with me? We see as we break it down, it has a lot to do with us. And you do it. Yes, you do a great job with your new student small group.
We also can do advisory groups where we make sure that every student in the school has a mentor, like a teacher mentor, or just an extra person that they know
Extra
cares
person
about
that has
them.
eyes on them.
Yes, can check in on them. mentor groups, which for me, when I think of mentor group, I work right next to our high school, so I pair high school students and elementary students together we call them, our mascot is a Bronco, so we call them Bronco Buddies. And that has really changed some of the things in our school.
Isn't that amazing?
Yes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, these students who are being picked on, when their Bronco buddy from high school walks in to eat lunch with them, their popularity skyrockets.
And one of the stories that you told me that was just so precious was school was out for the high school, and there was an award ceremony for the elementary, and those high school students who were out
They didn't
of school,
have to come to school.
Came back to school to cheer on their buddy.
Every single one of them. I had called them to say, hey, I just want to let you know that your Bronco buddy is receiving an award tomorrow. And I didn't expect them to come because, I mean, hello, they're out of school. Every single one of them.
That's amazing. That is wonderful.
Yeah, so I'm looking across the gym and parents are taking pictures of their little person with their big person, and I'm crying, and it's just beautiful.
So we have a house system, and it's similar to, if you're familiar with the Ron Clark's house system that they have. And so our students are in houses, and once a month they compete, like physically compete, or through games or, activities, but also they earn house points for their house, whatever house they're in. And they, I think next Friday we're taking them to the movies for the ones who,
Need a chaperone?
Yeah, come on. So we get to that builds that relationship part because they know they belong to that house, and we cheer each other on. We're all in, if you're in my house, I'm kind of a house mother, or we have house fathers, and we just do things together with our house group. So that's a lot of fun. And competing, it's good, healthy competition. So we have a lot of fun with that. So number 5, finally, joy to the world.
Again,
the Grimswalds.
External environment. So what is it like when you walk in the school? And let me just say, when we're at Kim's school, when I walked into your school, I can't even tell you. It was like I smelled a burst of floral, but a burst of fruit. It was
my body spray. No.
It was like a celebration for my nostrils.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very
so pass
nice.
that along to your principal.
I will.
A celebration for my nostrils.
A celebration for your nostrils.
Yeah,
I'm
but
glad.
It was very pleasant.
Very good.
Then I stopped and spoke to her secretary, who is just very friendly. She's friendly and efficient. We call her the unicorn because it's rare
that you get the whole deal right there at the front, answering the phone.
Yeah.
So precious and so good with the kids. So yes, all of that makes a big difference. And if it goes right back to that video of walking into the fast food restaurant, how it looks, how it smells. So,
and it just so happens that we did something called the School Climate Experiment. And it's just kind of a parody on those Febreze commercials we referenced earlier, where they take somebody in and blindfold them and say, can you guess where you are?
This is where acting career took off. This is where it took off. This is why Jude Law came.
This is it.
This is why he came. Right there. Laura may add some pics of some of how we have transformed our school. And I love that one of the mother who sees it for the first time, because we didn't let anybody in until on some of these until it was. Anyway, maybe a couple of different types of rooms she can add to the bottom of that. So school climate, as we said so poorly a while ago, because your brain went off.
I know, I got it
School
reversed.
climate is the building block of school culture.
One of the lines in the Diffin Doofer book says, there are many other people who make Diffin Doofer run. They are utterly amazing. I love every single one.
And we are one of those ones.
We are.
And we are the heart of the school.
Yeah.
So just remember that and do what you can do, and do it to the best of your ability, and love every minute of it, and love on these students that we have.
And the faculty. They need
and
it
the
too.
faculty.
All right.
Very good.
Don't get your closing voice ready yet.
I'm not.
Because we need to talk about our...
Can I transition voice?
Yes. Yeah,
I mean, is it okay
transition.
if I transition voice?
Yeah.
Thank you. That's what I was doing. Was I transitioning? Well, obviously you want to do cat pick,
No,
Laura.
no, I don't.
My cat pick that I laughed so hard because it looks like me was the cat with the eyebrows that had it's like the cat has just done her eyebrows, and it looks like me when I have gone to Ulta and the woman at Benefit. Is it the Benefit? You know, the eye stuff Benefit? Is it? Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking
When
about.
you've been to Ulta with
I
me,
know.
Laura, and the woman at the Benefit. That's
What
the
Benefit?
eye. That's the name of the eye product.
When I hear Benefit, I think of
I know
something-
that.
we're taking up money for somebody because they've had an unfortunate accident, which you had.
I did. So the woman behind the counter at Ulta does my eyebrows,
When we
and I
had your
come
eyebrow
out,
Benefit.
and it looks like that cat. I mean, they always look great. It's just
They do look
I just
great.
immediately have that. I mean, they always look at. I mean, if she does them, but I always look like that cat. Like, you know, they're
I'm like, are you angry? Are you not?
what are your sure feelings
Like Uncle
right
Leo
now?
from Seinfeld. If you know, if you know, you know.
Okay,
My
so
cat pick is very similar to yours in that it's eye stuff. But my sister sent me a picture of a cat. This is what I look like with eyeliner. This is what I look like without eyeliner.
and it is so
It's
funny. But I
accurate.
said, this is what I look like today. Rough day, and this is what you look like. She's the cat with eyeliner.
Oh, no.
So you'll see it and you'll know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But those are funny cats.
Those are funny.
Hope you enjoy them. So our pick is, for me, is my sister informed me that we were going to where I live in Coleman, Alabama. If you've heard of the quilts at G's Bend.
Never have I heard that.
I don't know where you've been, but
In Tennessee.
anyway, that's it. So there is a little place called G's Bend, and these women made quilts that are works of art.
Mm.
And so my sister told me that they are, I guess, displaying these quilts, and so we're going to go get to see them. And so she brought me a book that she reads to her classroom. It's called Belle the Last Mule at G's Bend. So G's Bend is a real place, and it kind of is set in during the Civil Rights movement in the 60s. Did I say Civil War movement?
Yeah, and you know, I know nothing
Like
about
that.
history.
I know,
was like,
she's like going with me.
I am
That child does
learning
not look like Civil War times. Civil rights. So it's a very good read. So I think your kids will enjoy it, and a lot of good character ed here too. So
Very good.
Yeah.
And mine is, my pick of the week is my shirt that I will be wearing tomorrow
That I gave her.
that you gave me. It's the one you had on last week. You just
I
gave
felt
it-
sorry for you. I just took it off, and
Yeah,
really,
and
I'm
here,
regifting.
She gave me the shirt off her back. No, I think she had one made for me.
I did for
And-
counselor appreciation,
Yeah.
National School Counseling Week.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I'm waiting.
Thanks.
Oh,
Thank
okay.
you.
You forgot that. That's awkward.
You
Well,
got a whole lot last week.
not from you. So
um,
that's, I don't know how that
yeah.
equals out. But anyway, hope you enjoyed the podcast.
We didn't do a tip or treat or trick or treat. And I don't have anything.
I don't even know what you're talking about right
Tip.
now.
Technique.
Oh, a tip or a technique.
Yeah. I can do one.
Good.
I'll do one. All right. This is something that I do when a student comes in and sometimes they won't talk. This was taught to me by my very favorite professor, and yours too, because you know her, Dr. Townsend. And she draws a picture of a heart. And then down below it, she makes a little box and asks the child to choose, what color do you want angry to be? What color, or mad? What color do you want happy to be? What color do you want sad? And then I ask the student, what other emotions are you feeling? And a lot of times they'll say worried, or I don't know, whatever. And then you just let them color the different parts of their heart that feel happy or feel sad. And as they're doing it, you ask them, what's making you feel happy? What's making you feel sad? And it just gets them to talk. And then
That is so good.
It's
You have
so
shared
good.
that with me,
Yeah.
and I love that. Another quick tip on, okay, is that some kind of alarm that's going off?
something's happening.
Another, I don't even know. Okay. To stop. Find my farm. My family is
They are
find my
pinging you.
phone alert. They're finding my phone to see where I'm
Mine's
at.
going crazy too, so don't think it's just you.
A lot of times I will, if I can't get them to talk at all, or maybe they're crying or they're upset, and I will give them choices, and they can, just pick, is this something that happened, at school or on the bus?
Oh, that's good. That visual.
And they will. And I had to do this today with a student that I
good.
couldn't get to talk. Is this something at home or is this something at school? And then that kind of, I can lead them into, I'm ready to talk now. We've kind of got some basis of where I'm going.
Very good.
If they can't get started or can't get it going. So I love that heart, though I've done that too. That's awesome.
My favorite story from the heart, real quick, is I had a little boy who colored a big portion of his heart sad. He colored a very small portion happy.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're talking and he's going through his different emotions, all of a sudden he takes his happy marker and starts coloring over some of his other feelings. And he said, the more we're talking, the happier I'm feeling. And I was like, is that not
that
goal?
Was such affirmation for you.
Yeah.
That this makes him feel better.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
I know.
It's amazing just hearing these, letting kids just express. Sometimes it's just telling.
Yeah.
You. I am having the hardest time talking today. Telling you. All right. That's it. I am done.
We're done. But
Been done.
yeah.
You need to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.